Hey, this is Frank Lisel with Pro1China.com, and I am happy to be joined by Paul Salo, originally from San Clemente, but has lived in Japan and currently lives in Shanghai, China. He is spending the day with us. We're blessed in that he is going to sit down with us and give us a little of his knowledge and education, teach us a little about the Chinese market, specifically when it relates to real estate. We got a lot of projects we're working on, and I'm just excited to have you here, Paul.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Yeah.
How was the flight?
It's no problem. No problem. It's just nice to be out here in sunny California, right?
Yes, it is.
Brings back so many memories.
And you picked sunny today because it's going to be 90 today.
Is it gonna be 90?
Yes, it
I
is.
love it. I love warm. I love hot.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I treated Paul this morning to authentic Mexican food.
Ah, that was nice.
He now knows how to eat chilaquiles.
Chilaquiles. I thumbs up.
So, Paul, I guess what my client would like to know, and I would like to know is more than anything is, what is let's start off with it, just generalities.
Yeah.
What is the biggest difference between a American buyer and maybe a Chinese buyer?
Well, I mean, it depends on if you're talking about where. If they're buying in China, they're buying. It's not that. I mean, it's different, but it's not that different. But if they're buying in another country, they're buying for different reasons, different motivations, and of course they take their cultural beliefs with them when they come here. So there's a lot of cultural beliefs they have about housing, about where to live, what kind of building, and also they have different architecture. So the big apartment buildings.
Yes.
There's like complexes with like 2,000, 1,000 apartments. So they're used to that kind of the decision making is different when you're buying one house in one area, and you need some it's a different way of thinking. So
Right, and it's funny you say that because I know recently we learned in setting up our website, pro1china.com, which hopefully will be in the next 2 weeks, will
okay.
be released, is, you said, what house is what direction is the house facing? What direction is the kitchen facing?
Hmm.
Is there a backyard? Because a garden is real important versus certain houses that have no backyard.
Right.
These are things we're learning as we speak to our clients, and we've also hired a few people to kind of work with us on that. Let me ask you this. What do you think is the biggest hurdle keeping maybe realtors like myself out of the Chinese, market? Because everybody, I've told you this before, we all seem to know a Chinese investor who has cash. Nobody's ever met him, though.
Okay.
And it's kind of a joke that, oh, there's all this Chinese money, but I don't know how many people actually have that. And I think what it comes down to is,
Okay.
People want to penetrate that market,
Right.
but maybe
Right.
it just seems hard. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I'd say that the only thing holding them back is themselves. Knowing that they can do it. It's like when Roger Bannister broke the 4 Minute Mile. A month later, like a bunch of other guys broke it. Once people realized they could break it, it's just like human nature. You think you can't do it, and then when someone does it, someone say someone in your office starts selling to Chinese, all of a sudden you're gonna get off your backside. You're gonna start to try and start to emulate what they're doing to succeed. So I'd say the first thing is it's not any more complex than anything else is. And the buyers are wealthier than the average buyer. So there's a lot of advantages to selling to wealthy Chinese or wealthy Indians. The cream of the crop, the top. These are the guys that are coming over, and they're in many ways they're a pleasure to deal with. They have a lot of money. They're high level sophisticated, right? So it's enjoyable to deal with them.
Now,
Deal with an equal. So
I know that Paul is currently working on a big project, ChinaCashBuyers.com,
yeah,
and he's been doing a lot of research on what is keeping, what does somebody like myself have to do to talk to, or get in front of these Chinese investors. And I know you've been doing a lot of research on it. And what do you think is, if there's one thing that you would point out without giving, the bus away here, if there's one thing you could point out that you say, you know what, in our research we've realized that, this is a big hurdle that people have to overcome to deal with this culture. Is it the culture? Is it the language barrier? Or like you said, is it just us?
I mean, okay. The first thing when you say research, like we're actually selling properties. We've been selling properties for many, many years to Chinese inside China.
Right.
So a lot of it is just kind of going back and seeing why a deal went through, why a deal didn't go through, and talking to our previous buyers and finding out more about what motivated them to do X, Y, Z, right?
Right.
So it's not like a Google search. Like we're out there talking to Chinese about what they did with us or with another Asian in China, and also because we sell them properties, and we're foreign. I'm the only basically that I know of the only foreign broker in Shanghai. So that's selling properties. So they naturally come to me to ask, what do I want to go overseas and I want to buy. My daughter is going to, school in Pennsylvania, and we were looking to buy an apartment. So I just talked to them and found out, kind of what motivates them, what gets them fired up, and what's going to get them to sign the deal. And then after they do sign the deal, what happens afterwards? What kind of services do they need? How are they thinking about it? How long does it take? What does it take to educate them? Because there's a lot of education that you have to do.
Right.
And I think like we were talking about earlier, is I think one of the biggest things is people can feel it's overwhelming. They think, well, life is hard already as it is. I'm having a difficult time. How can I ever do this new thing? And I would say it's like a smartphone. Before you had a smartphone, you thought, oh, I have to learn this new thing. It's going to be so hard. And then you learn it and it makes your life easier. Because once you learn it, you can do all these things with it. When you're dealing with wealthy Chinese buyers, there's I don't know, what is it, 4 times as many people in China as there is in the U.S. There's a lot of people, right? Once you know how to deal with the people there and close deals, it's it's a pleasure, right? It's not
Right.
hard work. A lot of it is just after you start to sell, it's networking and getting more referrals and getting more friends and dealing with whatever, maybe commercial properties or selling businesses or hotels or whatever. In Japan, we used to sell hotels and large residential complexes. So it's I would say it's absolutely worth it. And the only thing is you have to challenge yourself to move up to the next level because you have to become more professional.
Right. And I would add that my biggest thing that I've realized is we've been working on this for over a year now, and you're always learning something new. And I think you hit it right on the head in that you are learning something from scratch. You're creating something that's not there. You're dealing with a language you don't know, a culture you might not know, but to me that's the exciting part because I'm learning something I didn't know before. I know more about the Chinese culture and the population, and the more and more I learn, the more and more interested I get. So to me, that's exciting. Well, definitely, we'll keep you posted on Paul's project, and how that's going and when that's going to be released. But Paul, I want to thank you again for coming out and spending the day with us here. And there'll definitely be a lot more questions coming forward. I'm sure we'll be sitting down a lot more times, and then we can go from there. All right. Again, this is Frankly Said with pro1china.com, and until next time, guys.